Daughter blocked me from attending her wedding, so I canceled the wedding venue I paid for my daughter. Sophia blocked me from attending her wedding. It was supposed to be her big day, the day she finally settled down with someone she loved. I was paying for the wedding as a gift, but Sophia, who had always been a difficult child, decided to exclude me. It was devastating. I called the wedding planner to add my brother to the guest list, but he said it was full. I asked for the complete list, but he said Sophia had instructed him not to share it with anyone. I insisted I was her father and the one paying for the wedding, but he was reluctant. When I threatened to call his boss, he finally gave me the list. My heart sank. My wife and I were not on it. I called the planner again, thinking there must be a mistake. He explained that Sophia had specifically asked him to exclude us. He even shared the email conversation between them. Sophia had instructed the security to block us from entering the venue. I couldn't believe it. I knew Sophia hated me, but I never imagined it was this bad. I called her in a rage, but her phone went straight to voicemail. It was her bachelorette party. I left a message, but she didn't call back. The next day, I showed up at her apartment. She said she couldn't meet me. She was busy with wedding preparations. The planner had told her I knew about the guest list, so she was avoiding me. I demanded an answer, but her attitude only fueled my anger. When I finally confronted her about being blocked from the wedding, she simply said, "Well, good for you. It saved you time and energy to travel to the venue. I'll send the photographs if I get the time." There was no remorse, no apology. Just cruelty. I broke down, my anger turning into tears. What did I do wrong to deserve this? I asked. You've always wronged me, she said. First, by rubbing a stepmom in my face, then by mistreating me and taking her side. She wanted me to defend her unconditionally, even though she was cruel to others. How could I defend you when you bullied and troubled my sister's daughter? I argued. I protected you when you were caught taking pills in school. I helped you get into college when you were close to being expelled. You knew everything, yet you chose to be ungrateful. Seeing me sobbing, she said I was spreading negativity in her house. I reminded her that I was paying for her wedding. She became offensive, saying I wasn't doing her any favors. I owe you this, she shouted. I effing don't owe you anything. I yelled back. I've done enough for you. This was a favor. She told me to leave, saying she had no time for my emotional drama. I went back home and cried in front of my wife, Jessica. She's a kind and forgiving person, but seeing me break down, she got furious. For the first time, she encouraged me to take action against Sophia. We can't let her feel entitled to hurt us, she said. Sophia had been living on my money until a year ago, when she finally got a decent job. She had no savings for her wedding. I decided to teach her a lesson. I canceled all the wedding arrangements. I barely got any money back, but I didn't care. I canceled the venue. I wanted to cancel the wedding planner too, but that would have alerted Sophia. I wanted to ruin her big day. I felt guilty, but when I looked back, I realized I had already done enough for her. If she didn't feel guilty about cutting me off, why should I? On the day of the wedding, the planner and the caterers were denied entry to the venue. Chaos erupted when the security showed them the cancellation email. The planner called me for the remaining payment, but I said it was no longer my business. Sophia had a scuffle with the venue guards and was rescued by her fiancé just before she was arrested for trespassing. She tried to call me, but I blocked her number. She showed up at my house, but I had removed her access to the main gate. I didn't want to talk to her. She would have hurt me with her words. She had already done that when I went to her apartment. It was time she paid for her mistakes. Sophia didn't want relatives at her wedding. She only wanted her friends. Good for me, I didn't have to answer my family about the cancellation. It was her problem now. My parents weren't happy about what I did. They said we can't be ruthless to our children. No honor how cruel they are to us. I told them she had brought this upon herself. The guilt is still there, though. I put on a brave face and justify my actions, but deep down I feel bad about stopping my daughter's wedding. I don't know why I'm writing this, but it's unburdened my heart. You're right. It was about time she paid for her mistakes. She's delusional to think she could get away with something like that. It's natural to feel guilty. She's my child, my flesh and blood. But it's a parent's job to teach lessons. Update 1. Thanks for the moral support. I thought I would be called an o-hole for being so vindictive towards my own daughter. Some of you asked about the background of Sophia's hatred towards us. Here are the details. My wife, Jessica, is my second wife. Sophia is my daughter from my first marriage. Her mother and I separated when Sophia was 7. She left me for another man. They were moving to Europe and didn't want Sophia, so I got custody of her. I married Jessica when Sophia was 13. Since then, Jessica and I have been facing the wrath of Sophia. She hates Jessica to her guts. It was understandable when she was a teenager. It was hard to see someone else replacing her mom. Jessica, a teacher and trained children's counselor, assured me that Sophia would be fine once she hit adulthood. She would see me as an individual who needs a partner and not only her dad. I married 5 years after the divorce. I thought when she grew up she would understand that I parented her alone for 5 years after her mother left her. But Sophia was far from being grateful. She was hateful towards me and Jessica. The situation got worse every day. I sent Sophia to live with my sister, who had a daughter Sophia's age. I thought she would have company there. Things were smooth for a few months, but my sister gave up on Sophia. She said Sophia had been fighting with her daughter like cats and dogs. It was their final year at school, and my sister didn't want her daughter's grades to fall because of these silly fights, so I had to bring Sophia back. Sophia stayed with us until school. During her vacations, she went to stay with my parents. She refused to come back home and said she would attend high school from there. My parents' house was a little far from her school to cycle, so I had to get a carpooling service for her. When her high school results came out, she had tanked miserably. I got to know that she had gotten into the wrong company of students. She took pills and even had a bully boyfriend. That's why she wanted to live with my parents. She used to sneak out in the evening after my parents went to bed and loiter around the city until after midnight. She had to repeat her final year of high school. Getting her through college was another nightmare. Thank God I had some contacts that helped her get a seat at a decent college with her poor grades and miserable attitude. She again got into the company of wrong people and got immersed in drugs. She had to be sent to rehab. She graduated from college at 25. The next year, she relapsed, and I had to admit her again for a few months. It wouldn't be rude if I called her a pain in the butt, because indeed she is. She has always troubled me, embarrassed me, and made my life miserable. Thank goodness I found such an understanding wife. Jessica, had she been any other woman, she would have manipulated me to abandon Sophia. But she was the one who always pacified me to be patient with Sophia. I cannot thank her enough for all the support she has lent and all the sacrifices she has made for me and Sophia. Sophia's problem was 2 things. I remarried, and second, I married Jessica. You see, Jessica is not a Native American. Her family originally belonged to the Middle East. They were immigrants living in the USA. She grew up at an NGO because her parents couldn't raise their 5 daughters. They were able to flee a war-stricken zone, but they had nothing when they arrived in the USA. But that's what attracted me to Jessica. Despite her traumatic childhood with limited resources, she beat all the odds. She got a master's degree, a high-paying teaching job, and built a life for herself. Jessica is a self-made person, but Sophia calls her a gold digger. Well, I run a flourishing export business. We have been doing this for 2 generations, so yeah, we have somewhat generational wealth. Sophia thinks that Jessica married me for my money because it was her first marriage, and mine was the second. Her argument is, why did she marry a single dad who is 12 years older if not for money? I'm 57, and Jessica is 45. I don't know who fed Sophia's brain with all these nuances, but that's her argument for calling Jessica a gold digger. You guys also commented if Sophia's mother was involved in all this. The thing is, she had never contacted me or Sophia ever since our divorce. The last thing I heard was that she was in Germany. That's it. Coming to the current situation, after the wedding was canceled, Sophia tried to reach out to me to unleash her anger, but I had blocked her from entering the house or contacting me through any platform. My parents didn't like that Sophia's wedding was canceled because of me. They reached out to Sophia and offered to pay for her wedding if she wished to do it in the same way. They were disheartened when she chased them out of her house, accusing them of being in cahoots with me. She said mean things to them and told them never to visit her again. She held them responsible for the high school drug thing. She thinks my parents had informed me that she was caught taking pills in school. It wasn't them. They tried their best to protect her. I got to know this from her teacher, who went to the gym with me after that incident. My parents changed their sides. They said what I had done was right. I cannot let her feel entitled to use and hurt us however she wants. I'm still no contact with her. I don't know what she is up to. My parents visited her 2 days back, which was 10 days after her supposed wedding. They haven't married yet, so I'm guessing they are planning some other dates and not going for an intimate wedding, which could have happened by now. Oh yes, I blocked her credit card, the one I was paying for. She wasn't using it much after her job, but she still had access to it. I'm sure this is going to further anger her, but I don't care now. I don't have any guilt now after knowing that she had misbehaved with my parents. The poor souls are in their late 70s, and they have always loved and protected her. Sophia deserved to be abandoned. It sounds like she had some serious abandonment issues and was taking it out on Jessica. It was about time I stopped paying for that credit card. She was 27 years old. And why would I pay for a credit card when you know she has drug problems in the past? Update 2. Hey guys. I know it's been over a year since I updated this thread. But I was in constant touch with everyone who commented on the post and PM'd me. After a few weeks, I got to know that Sophia had married her fiancé in a private ceremony with just their close friends. I was happy that she was married and wished a good life for her. I was not connected to her on any social media, so I didn't know what was happening in her life. My niece told me that Sophia had moved to a neighboring city with her husband. She had updated it in her Facebook status. Life was running as usual when a week ago, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Sophia's husband, John. It got tense to think if some mishap had happened to her. He said she was fine, but she wanted to meet me in person. It came as a surprise to me. I asked him the reason, but he said he would tell me when we met. He said he was in the city and if I was free, we could meet up for dinner. I said, okay. I secretly wished that it was a meeting to reconcile Sophia and me. I thought she wanted to meet me but was ashamed to face me, so John was being the middleman. I went there with so much hope. After all, I'm a father, right? To my dismay, John was alone. I asked about Sophia. He said he doesn't know. My heart sank, and I asked if something had happened to her and if she was fine. He told me that they were separated. He went on to reveal how Sophia had been abusive in their marriage. She had real anger issues and would throw stuff at John and break household stuff even at a minor argument. He tolerated her until he couldn't, and when the situation got worse, he got separated from her. He said that Sophia had a psychological issue and that she blamed others for any inconvenience that happened to her. She constantly used to fight with him because they had to leave this city and shift there because he got better opportunities. Sophia didn't lose anything with this change. She also got a similar paying job in that city, yet she was angry with him for taking her away from her hometown. That was just one thing. Sophia used to be always angry at John and fight with him. He said there was one more reason why he wanted to meet me in person. He wanted to say sorry. He said he witnessed Sophia's cruelty towards me, Jessica, and my parents. But he didn't intervene because Sophia had manipulated him against all of us. He said he brought misery upon himself by overlooking all the red flags. I said it wasn't his fault at all. It was Sophia's fault. And to some extent, maybe mine because I wasn't able to raise her properly. I also said sorry to him because of whatever he had been through with Sophia. John requested me for one last favor. He said Sophia had been distraught by the separation. She's begging him to take her back. But he has fallen out of love with her after her abuses, yet he wishes well for her. He asked me if I could reach out to her and support her at bad times. She literally had no friends because she lost everyone thanks to her temper. She has no real permanent friend in her life. He asked me to take her for therapy or something. I said I wished I could, but she wouldn't let me come near her. He understood my circumstances, and I understood his. We both wanted to help Sophia. If at all, she would let us do so. After knowing that, I couldn't help but go to meet Sophia. It turned out to be as expected. She dropped explosions on me and Jessica, though I showed up alone. I didn't want Jessica to witness Sophia's wrath. I apologized to her to calm her down. I didn't think about right and wrong at that time. She was going through a rough time, and I wanted to help her out. I said she could curse me whatever she wanted, but she needed to see a therapist first. She didn't listen and dug up the past. She yelled that she hated Jessica to the extent that she wanted to kill her. She said she blocked us from her wedding because she was embarrassed to introduce Jessica as her stepmom. She was ashamed of her and was ashamed of me for marrying her. She didn't listen to me and chased me out of the house. She blamed me for all her miseries in life. I don't know if I was right or wrong, and honestly, I don't care. I want her to come out of this, but I don't know how to help her. Honestly, people don't change unless they want help. I'm not sure there's anything more you can do, OP. Update 3, thanks all for the moral support. I was very disturbed while making the last update. The space really helped me release my nerves. Jessica suggested that I take the help of Sophia's best friend from school. Her family was our neighbor, so we knew each other quite well. She was now living in South Africa. I reached out to her on social media and told her about the situation. I requested her to contact Sophia, and if she opened up to her, I was betting she would, because she was the only one with whom Sophia never had a fight. She assured me that she would help me and convince Sophia to go to therapy, and gladly, she did. Sophia is going to therapy, and I'm guessing it is going well because a week ago, she met my parents and apologized to them for her misconduct. She confessed that her hatred grew so bad that she was unable to control it. But she also said that she was never going to forgive me and still blame me for everything. I don't despise her anymore. I just wish her a good life, even if I'm not part of that. Thanks for all the support. I wish no father had to go through this when your own child hates you to this level. You've done all you can, OP. You've supported her through thick and thin. Sophia needs to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. I'm sorry she's treating you and Jessica this way. Hopefully, therapy helps her come to some conclusions. She doesn't hate you, OP. She's just full of a lot of hate towards her mother, who left her. Sophia's been carrying some big feelings for a really long time. What do you think? What would you have done if your child was treating you this way? After watching full story, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe for more awesome stories like this. Stay blessed and healthy. Thank you for watching and see you in the next story. Bye.